Caterpillar electronic engines require a throttle position sensor to provide throttle position input to the electronic control module. These are two types of sensors currently used. This is a throttle pedal mounted sensor. It does not require any adjustments. This is an adjustable throttle position sensor. It must be calibrated during truck assembly. A DDT, digital diagnostic tool, or an ECAP, electronic controller analyzer programmer, can be used to calibrate the sensor. First, we're going to show you how to perform calibration using the DDT. Before you adjust the throttle position sensor, you'll need the following: a DDT, a throttle position sensor, a T-harness, throttle position sensor harness, and a 12-volt power supply. This can be a 12-volt battery. With the exception of the TPS harness, which you need to make, the equipment is available through your local Caterpillar dealer. You're now ready to connect the throttle position sensor to the DDT and a power supply. First, connect the T-harness to the DDT. Next, connect the throttle position sensor harness to the T-harness. Now connect the throttle position sensor to the throttle position sensor harness. Connect the banana clip to the pulse width modulation sensor. And finally, connect your 12-volt power supply. The DDT should now be on. To correctly calibrate the sensor with the DDT, you'll use the screen displaying percent pulse width modulation, or PWM. To get to this screen, first press Select Function, then press 8, press 5, then press Enter. The percent PWM screen will be displayed. 85 arrow on the right side of the screen indicates the number of the screen being displayed. Now you can adjust the sensor. Without the throttle depressed, adjust low idle to 15 to 20% PWM. Notice the display changes as you move the sensor. Adjust the high idle. Then, with the throttle fully depressed, the screen should read 80 to 85% PWM. By using this simple technique, you can accurately adjust the throttle position sensor. If you have any questions, refer to your procedure sheet available through your Caterpillar account manager. Now we're going to show you how to perform calibration using the ECAP. Before you adjust the throttle position sensor, you'll need the following: an ECAP, a throttle position sensor, a pulse width modulation adapter, a T-harness, a throttle position sensor harness, and a 12-volt power supply. With the exception of the TPS harness, which you need to make, the equipment is available through your local Caterpillar dealer. Also, make sure the ECAP has current 3176 and 3406 service program modules or chips installed. Without current service program modules, you will not be able to calibrate the sensor. You're now ready to connect the throttle position sensor to the ECAP and a power supply. First, connect the T-harness to the ECAP. Next, connect the throttle position sensor to the T-harness. Now connect the throttle position sensor to the throttle position sensor harness. Install the PWM adapter. Connect the banana clip to the PWM adapter. And finally, connect your 12-volt power supply. The ECAP should now be on and displaying this screen. To correctly calibrate the sensor with the ECAP, you'll use the screen which displays percent pulse width modulation, or PWM. Disregard the frequency. To get to this screen, first press 1 for utility functions. Then press Return. Press 2 for PWM sensor screen, and press Return. The percent PWM screen is displayed. Now you can adjust the sensor. Without the throttle depressed, adjust low idle to 15 to 20% PWM. Notice the display changes as you move the sensor. With the throttle fully depressed, adjust high idle to 80 to 85% PWM. By using this simple technique, you can accurately adjust the throttle position sensor. If you have any questions, refer to your procedure sheet available through your Caterpillar account manager.
Let's go through a step-by-step procedure of adjusting the throttle position sensor. Right now we're working with a 3176 engine. Now, adjusting the throttle position sensor is the same on 3176 as it is a peak engine. The same sensor, same type of linkages depending upon the OEM chassis. The tools that you're going to need for this are your ECAP, the cable of course to connect the ECAP to the engine, a 9-pin breakout tee, a pulse width modulator adapter that goes onto the ECAP, and that's all. And now let's start by connecting up to the engine. On a 3176, the connector is the JA-PA connector, which is located towards the front of the engine. And here we put in our breakout tee. And then we connect the other end of the cable up to port 1. The next connector to hook up is the 9-pin breakout tee, and on 3176 it goes to the J7P7 connector. And we'll need to take the PWM adapter and connect it onto the ECAP. And next, connect the probe of the adapter up to pin E. And next, the key must be on, or power going to the ECM. And you want to go to utility screen, which is 1. And then press enter, and then we need to press 2 to go to the pulse width modulated sensor, and then enter. And now the ECAP is set up and ready to adjust low idle. Now low idle should be adjusted between 15 and 20% PWM signal. And next you need to adjust high idle. It needs to be adjusted between 80 and 85% PWM. This may take a second person to be up in the truck and pushing down on the throttle to get you to your high idle stop. Once you've adjusted high idle, you need to go back now and check your low idle to make sure that it's within calibration. If you do need to change your low idle again, then you need to repeat your high idle to make sure that it's still in calibration too. You need to repeat those steps as many times as it takes to make sure that both of them fall within the calibration specs. Now on 1991 inches, we made it just a little bit easier for you. On this setup, we had to use the pulse width modulator adapter, but with the 1991 engines, you can get away without using that. Don't need it at all, just need to use your standard cable that comes and hooks up, and then we have a special calibration screen on here that allows you to adjust the pulse width just using the standard cable. Now, if you need more detail on that, we have the 3176 guide and the 3406 peak guide, troubleshooting guide to help you. And these are available from your local Caterpillar dealership. These procedures are available from your Caterpillar account manager also.